Chang hard fork just around the corner. 1st of September is the brand new date, and we already have brand new projects that are looking at proposals being submitted, and this may not be for another year or 6 months at least before Chang hard fork 2 comes along and we'll be able to actually do Treasury withdrawals. So projects are prepping people in the space for these funds, and this is what we're trying to improve here. We're trying to improve ADA's price overall performance, more transactions. Every metric out there is what the Treasury is for, and it is literally going to be in the community's hands, and we need to get together to make sure that these funds that are being withdrawn from it are used correctly. And we have this particular proposal here that I'll go through, and I'll talk about what us as a community can do to safeguard the Treasury funds and make sure they're used effectively. So the Treasury funds at the moment, if we have a look at Cardano Blockchain Insights, this is all on-chain metrics. We have 1.4 billion ADA in the Treasury, and it's worth, at the time of this recording, 645 million USD. So that's a fair chunk of money to play around with, and we don't want to squander all that like some other ecosystems have. If you have a look at what Polkadot's proposals were previously last year, they put together a 500 million USD for an animated GIF on CoinMarketCap, and that is definitely not something that we want to end up with within this particular Treasury withdrawals when the governance era comes in. This is the proposal that people are up in arms about. So ESCO Web3, I don't know this particular person, leaked a pitch deck. This is a draft pitch deck that was put together by the 3UTXO team, talking about what they are going to do with the particular funds that they are requesting. And the problems that they're solving, I have to say, are very common problems. These are the things that need to be done. More developers, more well-funded projects, more dApp users, more VCs. So this is something we know, and we do need more of all of this within the Cardano ecosystem to make things thrive. Now, the thing here within this proposal that ESCO pointed out is the 200 million ADA grant that they're asking for, and this is just for the marketing side of things. So this isn't just, it may be other values here that we're asking for too, but 200 million for the marketing side of things. So to benefit this opportunity, we're applying for a $200 million grant when Voltaire is live. We aim 500 million USD in the Treasury by end of 2025. So $500 million out of the Treasury. That's a lot of money. What do we got here? So at the moment we got, they're asking for $500 million, and we are at 1.4. Okay, all right. So it's asking for a lot of money there. There are safeguards in regards to spending those funds. So, I've seen people tweet about how the funds are distributed from smart contracts that are time locked, or milestones that need to be met for delivery of funds, etc., etc. So it should work very similar to how Project Catalyst works at the moment. So you need to submit you need to submit statement of milestones, proof of achievements, all these things, so you can unlock your next tranche of payments. So there are and should be safeguards put in place so that the 200 million or even 500 million USD isn't just unlocked from the Treasury and given to those projects. So there are safeguards in measure to make sure things are done properly. Now, I'll go back to the proposal here. This is a very well-known team. I did mention that, and Florian, he's from Noom. He's been on the podcast before. He's a very well connected person in the space. We got Yuri Brunner from Waffle Capital. I've had him on the podcast as well. And then if we have a look at all the tech advisors as well, I've spoken to all of these people. I've had them all on the podcast. I've had selfies with them at conferences, events. I've had conversations with them. I've worked on projects alongside some of these people. So it's definitely a well-known team. So in terms of delivering, personally, I'm not too worried about that. ESCO here is pointing out is that they're kind of worried that there may be a conflict of interest between people that are on the committees, the boards within the Cardano Intersect, but then also requesting funds from it. So there's slight conflict of interest there. You can argue that the Constitution Committee is actually there just to look at proposals if they're constitutional or not, if they are for or against how and what is stated in the Cardano Constitution. So there's lots of nuances there, but you can see the type of flack you would get if you're on the Cardano Committee and also asking for funds for it. So for anyone that is asking for funds in the future, probably look at how you're positioned there so you don't get this kind of flack from the community and conflict of interest questions all the time. Personally, I don't think there is a conflict of interest there because the Interim Constitutional Committee has a very fine thing that they need to vote on, whether a proposal is constitutional or not. And this is all before, I believe, the Chang hard fork version 2 comes into play. Anyway, I'll put the links for this particular proposal, this pitch deck, out for you. So if you haven't seen this on X over the weekend, do have a look at it. Now, there are a lot of prominent people talking about this, and this is just one from Linda, and she points out that before we start throwing money at all these projects, we really need to improve the tooling, scaling, language education, so adoption of writing smart contracts, smart contract libraries, economic auditing, and so forth. So there's a lot of things that we need to develop and build upon. This is the base stuff before we start marketing the project even more. Sure, maybe we can do both at the same time, but simply throwing money at projects isn't sustainable, nor is it the final solution. Completely agree with this statement there, Linda. So Paul will be doing a live stream with the team tomorrow. So if you have any questions, leave questions down here. People are quite antsy about what's going on here and do want to know more. So join the live stream, start asking questions now so you can have them answered. Now, like I said, this is very, very early. We won't be able to withdraw Treasury funds for a long time, for at least another 6 months until Chang 2 comes into play. So this team is one of many, and I know there'll be more, that are prepping the community for large withdrawals of funds. So be ready for this. And other projects that need to build and develop, that are building tooling, that are building Cardano nodes, needs hundreds of millions of dollars to build all of this. So we will be expecting more of these really large proposals. And this is something that as a community, we need to brace ourselves for. So be warned, there will be millions of dollars withdrawn from the Treasury. So there are some learnings from all this, and I think Nick here put it really well. Any team considering requesting Treasury funds should invest in a strong PR and comms team. And I completely agree with that. Any type of proposal that is being put on chain for voting should have a long marketing and PR campaign before it, talking with all the people within the Cardano community, exhibiting at expos, at conferences, whatever it is. You need to have that long wind up of communications and comms before it gets on chain. Otherwise, as soon as it hits on chain and you haven't done any of those comms, you are going to get absolutely slammed. Plus, all these teams, I'm assuming, would have to deliver something, MVPs, proof of concepts, something before, so they can show that they actually can deliver this, especially with teams that now, I know with teams that have existing track records, that's a little bit easier, but still putting something together for the community so they can see tangibly what's going to be happening here is, I think, the best approach. It has been this way in the Cardano ecosystem for a long time, and I think it's going to continue. Now, the second point that Nick points here is DEX will get leaked, so you better be prepared for it. And I suspect there will be a lot more of this in the future as well. Even with NDAs out there, someone will get their hands on it and leak it out. So something will happen like this in the future. Be ready for it. Any project that is asking for funds, please be ready. Now, what can we do? And what is the impact of all of this? We as a community will be able to vote for these proposals. This is the whole point of it. We can become DREPs. If you are an ADA holder, large or small, you can become a DREP and vote for or against any of these proposals. You can follow people that are becoming DREPs and delegate your ADA to them to hopefully vote in the right direction for all these proposals. So you can lobby your DREP, you can talk to them, you can engage with them so that they can try and sway communities in one direction or the other. This is going to be a big part of the future of Cardano. It's going to get messy. It's going to get quite interesting. So, be prepared for this. The other factor that we need to be aware of, and I don't think many people are talking about, is that ADA that is being unlocked from the Treasury, the 1.4 billion ADA, is going to projects and developers, and they're going to convert that into fiat, sell it, and pay for their bills and other expenses. $1.4 billion could potentially be converted, sold off over time, and converted into fiat money for those developers and people building those projects. That is a reality that we need to understand. Some of these projects, some of these communities, some of these builders will keep that ADA. They will keep it staked and then live off the ADA rewards to keep on funding and developing their projects, pay for developers, legal costs, whatever it is. Others will just sell it. And this is a reality that we need to be aware of. It may not happen. They may attract a lot more liquidity into the ecosystem. These vesting contracts that they may have maybe in 5-6 years time. So it may be a very long period of time before they get all these funds. But it's unlocking of these funds and having more sell pressure on ADA itself. So this is something that we need to be aware of. We need to know and understand that this may happen and lower that price of ADA. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but in the reality, if you think about this, more ADA in the ecosystem, more liquidity, more people, more sell pressure, it's going to happen. The price could drop dramatically. I don't have a crystal ball around this, but in my head, it just makes sense. If people are extracting ADA from the Treasury to pay for things, they're going to pay for it in fiat because you need to pay for bills, you need to pay for food. So this is the reality of what's going to happen. I'd love to pull up graphs and do a comparison on other ecosystems like Polkadot, who have gone through a massive amount of governance and gone through and pulled out their Treasury funds and liquidated into fiat as well. So I'd like to do a comparison of that and see historic data and numbers, and maybe I'll do a follow-up video afterwards. If you're interested, leave a comment down below. I'll do a comparison between what has happened in other ecosystems, other blockchains that have a lot of governance, seen what their proposals have done to their ecosystems, and where the price is now. I think that's a really good research piece that I should do, but let me know down below what you think. Overall, what do you guys think of this? Are you ready for what's going to happen in the era of Voltaire? Are you ready for these proposals? Are you ready for millions of dollars being extracted from the Treasury? Leave a comment down below. And like always, make sure you hit that thumbs up, subscribe, notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.